Hello everyone, this is Darwin Keeley speaking, and today I'll be demonstrating how to create a GitHub search application integrated with GitHub API. For building these apps, we'll be using React.js as the foundation, React Query to fetch user data, and React Infinite Query to fetch user repository. Now I will demonstrate how the app is used. There's an input box to input the username. For this time, I will input CSKeely and press enter to fetch the data. It will show the list of user, and when we click on the list, it will show 5 repos of the user. And there is a show more button to infinite fetch the next 5 of the user repo. Now I will input Darwin as user we want to search and press enter. It will show 5 lists of users with the name Darwin, and when we click at the list, it will show the user repo. And next, another Darwin, it will show the repo of the user. Next, we will try to search Edward Keeley as the user, and indeed it shows Edward Keeley, and when we click it shows the repo of Edward Keeley. And after that, we will deploy the apps to Netlify and push it to GitHub for Git version control. Without further ado, let's open the Windows terminal, and then we type yarn create file as we use file as a builder, and for the project name, we name it github.search.api. And then for the option, we choose React. And after that, we choose Typescript plus SWC for files compiling. After that, we go to the repository with cd github search.api, and in the repo, we type code dot to open it in the Visual Studio Code. And now inside the VS Code, there's a default structure created by file. There's a public folder, src or source folder, .git node file, index.html, and inside the source folder, there's an asset folder, CSS file, app.tss, and main.tss. And this is inside the index.html file. To run the apps, we need to install the dependency. To do that, we open the terminal and type yarn, because we are using yarn. If you are using npm, you can type npm install. And then for the depth dependency, we need to install Azure's React Bootstrap, React DOM, React Query, and React Router DOM. And don't forget to dynamic class name, we need to add yarn at CLSS for the dynamic class name. And now we can go to main.tss. We do const query clients equal to new query clients, open parentheses, is an object of default option, colon, an object of queries, colon, an object of case time, colon, 0, and refresh on Windows focus, colon, false. And don't forget to add import query clients from React Query. And then we wrap the apps with query client provider. and move the apps inside the query client provider. And the query client provider receive an client as a props of query clients. And don't forget to add the import of query client provider from React query. Now we go to index.html because we want to use font awesome as the icon. So we go to font awesome CDN. We search with the browser, and then don't forget the version of 6.4.0. We use the top one, the r.min.css, and we copy the copy link tag. And after that, we paste it in the index.html. And now we are ready to use the font awesome icon as our icon. And now we go to index.css. Because we don't use the default CSS, so we delete it all and we paste my CSS that I already write it. You can copy it from my GitHub repo. And in here I use my custom background. If you want, you can use your own custom background too. And this is the React SVG. We don't use it, so we delete it. And we add my asset custom background in the asset folder. And then we need to create another folder, and we close it, all tabs that we don't need. We create the folder name API. In this folder, we will have all the API requests. And we create a new folder again, called model, and a model folder. Inside the model folder, we will have a new folder again. It will call user repository, and the second folder is called user search. Okay, inside the model folder, we will have the user models.ts and repo models.ts. The model is generated from the API response. Due to time-consuming nature of manual typing, fortunately, I have already uploaded the model file in my GitHub repository for you to easily copy. Now let's navigate to repository model and paste the model provided in repo model in my GitHub repository, and make sure you import the user model from the user model file. You can use the shortcut Ctrl+D for a quicker process. And now we go to the API folder and make a new file called api.ts. And inside the api.ts, we will make const api underscore URL equal to https://api.github.com and const user underscore search underscore URL equal to backtick API underscore URL slash search slash users, and then const user underscore repo underscore URL equal to API underscore URL slash users. And then export type response user equal to object total underscore count colon number. Incomplete underscore resource as boolean, and items as array of user model. And don't forget to import the user model from model slash user model, and then export type response repo equal to array of repo model. And import the repo model. Export type request query equal to object per underscore page as number, and page as number. Export type user query equal to request query, and object of queue as string. The request query is we find it out from API github.com. The GitHub REST API documentation, and we search for the source, and then the search user. The URL is this search slash users with the method is get, and it have a request query of accept queue order sort per page and page, but in here we only use page per page and queue as query, and this is for the repository search repository. And then in here we go to interface GitHub API as an object of get user as a function request query, and return a promise of response user. And get repo in here, I think I got a typo here in the query that caused a error in here. And get repo as a accept the username as string and query as request query and return a promise of response repo. And export cons GitHub API colon type of I GitHub API equal to object of get user is async function, and accept a query and return an async with the method of get user underscore search underscore URL, and the second params is an object of params as query. Dot then R is the response as async response, and return response that data. Don't forget to import the async response from async. The second one is get repo as async function that receive a username and query, and return async with the method of get that take user underscore repo underscore URL slash username slash repos, with the second params is params as query. Dot then response of async response and return R that data. And then we go to user search and create a new file called user search.tss. We type it RAFCE. It's a React ES7 snippet. You can download from the extension, and then we type FC. It's a function component. Cons value set value equal to useState with initial of empty string. Don't forget to import the useState from React. And FC2. And in React 18 we don't need import React again, so we delete it. Cons search term comma set. Search term equal to useState and with an initial of empty string, and then const user set user equal to useState of an array of user model with an initial of empty array, and import the user model from user model, and then const query as an type of user query equal to an object with q colon search term comma per underscore page colon 5 comma page colon 1 comma with an initial of per page is 5 and page is 1, and then const an object of data equal to user response, or in here we type user res, and error and is loading equal to use query open parenthesis and open and curly braces is an object of query key colon open bracket of string of user comma search term and comma. The second object is query function or query fn colon a function of GitHub API that get user that receive a query comma enable colon when search term is not equal to empty string. So when not equal to empty string, then the use query is running, and we import the user query from API and the GitHub API from the API, and then const fetch user equal to an function of set search term with a value, and then use effect that receive a function if there's a user response or user res, then we set user with the user res dot items, and the use effect only work when there is a user res. And don't forget to import the use effect, and then row, we use row from the bootstrap row, and then call from bootstrap 2, and don't forget to import it from bootstrap, and then with the call is SL12 and class name of MB3 or margin bottom 3, and then input with a self-closing div with the type of text, and value equal value, and then on change that receive an even or e, and then set value with e dot target dot value with a placeholder of search user, and then class name of user dash input. We open another column or call with an SL12 and class name of MB-3, margin bottom 3, and inside it we add a button. There's a bootstrap button, and don't forget to import it. A search button, search user, and we import the button from bootstrap with a props of on click with an anonymous function to fetch user. Don't forget to invoke it, and then we use an accordion. The accordion is from React Bootstrap, and we map the users and then take the user, and then we return a div with a user dot login, and don't forget to add a conditional rendering to prevent error, that question mark, and we start it with yarn dev so we can see the result with a localhost of 5173. There's an error there, and we fix the error first. We go to app.tss and we delete the byte default, delete the useState2, and delete all the import as we don't need it. Inside the app.tss, we will open a card. This card component is from Bootstrap, and we import it from bootstrap.esm-card. With a card header, and inside the header we use an icon. This is from item icon with a GitHub icon, and the card title as H3 or heading 3 with a search GitHub user, and the card body we import the user search component here. With a self-closing component, and don't forget to import it. And after that, we open the browser and we saw the result, and I think there's something wrong with the card here, but we will fix it later. And now we open the browser with VS Code side to side, so we can saw what we are doing, and then I will set the VS Code to be bigger a little bit. And now we go to the app.css. We pass our CSS. You can copy it from my GitHub repo. And I think we need to remove the ESM. So only from React Bootstrap -card. And we will do the same with our Bootstrap component. Remove the ESM -ESM. It's still not showing the card, but don't worry, we will fix it later. And now we try to fetch it, and I input Kili and search user, and indeed it worked, and awesome. And I try to CS Kili and search again. Indeed, there is a CS Kili and our Kili. And okay, so the fetch is working. And now we will do the is loading part and is error. And now we are using ternary operator. It's loading. If it is loading, then it show the spinner and div, and open spinner component. The spinner component is from React Bootstrap 2 with a self-closing, and then the animation equal to border, the variant equal to primary, and the style we set the width to 1.5 frame, and the height is 1.5 frame. So now we set with fix width and fix height. If it's not loading, then it not render anything. It's null. And import the spinner from React Bootstrap and remove the ESM too. And then For the error, we use ternary to. If is error, then open div and p tag, no users found. If there's no error, then render null. And it's loading and its error part is done. There's no error anymore. And the user search component is finished. And now we do the user repository. Now we type RHD. RHD is my snippet for Typescript, for React Typescript. And we receive a props, the types prop for user as user model, and import the user model from user model. And then the component, we receive a props of user, and then a cons repo, set repos equal to useState with array of repo model with an repo model with an initial of empty array. Import the repo model from the repo models and import the useState from React. Cons current page, set current page equal to useState as type of number with an initial of 1. And cons per underscore page, this is a constant of 5. Cons query as request query equal to an object of per underscore page as per page constant, comma, page as current page, comma. And import the request query from the API. And then cons an object of data colon repo res, comma, error colon repo error, comma, is loading colon is repo loading, comma, fetch next page, comma, next page, comma, has next page, comma, equal to use infinite query. And open parenthesis, an object of import the use infinite query from React query, query key colon open bracket of string repo comma user dot login comma query function or query fn colon is an arrow function that receives a page param, an object of page params equal 1, and GitHub API dot get repo receive a user dot login comma an object of we spread the query and page as page params. Okay. And then the third object is get next page param as an function at current page that return a current page plus 1 comma use effect and return a if there's a repo res, then cons are repo equal to repo res dot pages dot flat map page to page, and then cons new repos equal to r repos that slice -5. This is take the last 5 of the new repos. Set repos, preview repos, and then we join the array of and spread the preview repo and then spread the new repos. Else, if there is a user, then set repos to empty array and set current page to 1. This is if we set the new user, then we set the repos to empty array and set the current page to 1, back to the page 1. Cons handler show more equal to an function that set current page and take the preview page and then return the preview page plus 1. And run a function of fat next page. import the use effect. And now we will do the accordion part. Accordion. Import it from React Bootstrap /accordion. Remove the ESM. And then accordion that item with the key of user dot id and the even key of user dot id dot toString. And then accordion dot header user login. We put the conditional rendering to prevent an error. Accordion dot body with a div, open div, of class name equal to age 100, height 100%, deflash or display flash column, and MB3 or margin bottom 3. And inside it, we open a div of class name of age 100 ps, deflash, flash grow 1, and then overflow y auto, and then flash column. And with the style of max height of 300 pixels. Inside the div, and now we build a component, a new folder of component, and inside the component folder we put a new file. It's named repository card.tss, and RSD is a React Typescript snippet, my own custom. Take a props of repo as a repo model and import the repo model. Inside the component, it will receive a props of repo. And then put a div of class name mb-2. The inside div, we have a class name of dflags, justify content between test start and fw dashboard. Inside of it, we open a new div that have a repo dot name, and we put an optional chaining to the repo to prevent error. And back to user repository, we import the repository card component that receive a repo as a props. Import the repository card from repository card. Okay, after the import, we got an error in the repo. We saw what is it. Oh yeah, the repo response is in array, so we map it with the repos.map. It will return a repos, and inside of it we put the repository card, and the error is fixed. Now we do the is loading part. Is loading. If it's loading, then open div. It's not loading, then it's null. I think it's a repo loading, so we have a typo here. It's repo loading. Then if it is loading, then it return a spinner. The spinner is from React Bootstrap. It is the same component as a user search, so I just copy and paste it. And then with a class name of dflags, justify content center. And after it's loading, then is error. Repo error. If an repo error, then we will return a div with a P of no repository found. and then has next page, double N is not repo loading, a ternary operator, and button show more. The button is from Bootstrap, imported, and then we got an on-click property of handle show more, and disable when there is no has next page. If not is repo loading, then return null. Okay, with that, our user repository card is done. Then it's already fetched it and it's work. And I think now the Bootstrap component is not working all. So now I will fix it. I will fix the Bootstrap component. And I think I know the problem here. Oh yeah, I forgot to import the Bootstrap, mean the CSS. So it's not working, and now after I import it, it's all working. The card is working. Then we put the CS key search user, and indeed it shows the CS key as a user, and we show more. It fetches the next five repository, and show more. Next 5 again. Okay. And it's done. It's all done. User search. Okay. And we now we do the enter the cons handle key down, the enter key, receive an event, react the keyboard event, of HTML input element, and if event the key string equal to enter, then it fetch the user. So when we press the enter key, it will fetch the user. And that is handle key down, not key down. Okay. Put it on the input, on key down, equal to handle key down. Okay, and then we refresh again. We enter CS key again and enter. Yes, indeed it's working. So CS key, show more is working. Show more again. Okay, it's working. Show more again. Okay, and then we back to the repository card, because we don't just want the repo name, we want another one. We open a div. We put the stargazer count repo dot stargazer count. Okay, so the stargazer count. If not, then is dash and the icon of star. The icon is from Font Awesome icon. Class name of FA the solid, FA the star, margin start is 1, and then below the div, I think we need to wrap it in a container. So we wrap it in a div. Div of class name, d flags, and a line item center. We will center the items. And then below that div, we put another div of class name, text start. We will put it repo dash description here. Okay, and refresh. So user, put it Kili, search user, and indeed show the Kili. I think the first one doesn't have a repo, so the second one, yes, we already have the stargazer count. We put it to the full view. And the description, the stargazer count, and the repo title. Show more, fetch the next 5. Show more again, fetch the next 5 again. And the next user, show more. Yes, it's work. And we put the name is CS Kili and search for user. Yes. Okay, it's worked well. Show more again, it's worked again. And it's worked well. The second user, our Kili, show the repo, fetch the next 5, show more, fetch it again. And now I will show you guys how to push it to GitHub repository and deploy it for free to Netlify to have your web apps air to the internet for you to show it to your friend or family and add it to your portfolio to show to your hiring manager. And now we will git init it first. Open the terminal and then type it git init and press enter. And after that, we will git checkout min b main to build a main branch and git add dot to add all. Git commit dash m initial commit. This is for your first commit. And then after that, you need to go to the GitHub to make a new repository and type a name. I will type this name YouTube GitHub search. And the description is, this is a apps to search the GitHub user with integrated with GitHub API, and then create repository, and after that you will need to copy the git remote at origin and then paste it to the terminal. And after that you can type git post origin main. And after that you can restart your GitHub page, and your repo is in the GitHub. You already push it to the GitHub repo. Okay, now we will deploy it, but first we build it first. So we saw for the build command, this is build, tsc and fight build. So we type it yarn build because we are using yarn. Okay, build is done. Then after done, we will saw there is a this folder, and we deploy manually. We drag and drop the this folder. Downloading and done. After that we can open the production deploy. Okay, we enter the name CSKili, and it is working. The user is working and the apps is working. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you had a great time watching, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support means the world to me. If you haven't already, I'd be thrilled if you hit that big red subscribe button right below this video. By subscribing, you'll be the part of our incredible community, and you won't miss any of the exciting content we have in store for you. We release new videos every Monday, covering a coding tips and tutorial. So, if you're interested in coding, this is the perfect place for you. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you are awesome. I look forward to see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep being amazing.